So you made it to the end of the social media jumpstart.
Jumpstart!
Like, I can't believe it. We're at the end. I know we covered a lot of different platforms. I know we did a lightning round.
Yeah.
Right now we want to get very practical on what your next steps are.
Yeah, I think this is the key, right? We've gone through all, and this is a great time to review some of those episodes that you might need to review again, jog your memory from the first couple episodes. But the next step, we want to make this as practical as possible, so that it isn't just sit and soak and it goes into the ether. So I think the first recommendation is look at the most important networks that we talked about, and that's Facebook and maybe Twitter.
Yeah.
And dip your toe in those waters.
Yeah, just get your presence on there. I know it can be overwhelming because we covered a lot of different channels. What we're not saying is do everything at the same time.
Yes.
Try out Facebook and Twitter and get going. Those are the channels. If you have any time in your schedule, and we all have the whirlwind that kind of consumes us, but get on Facebook and Twitter and start there. And then the other platforms can be experiments, places where you start. But it's really important that you have a presence on there right now on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, I love to say to entrepreneurs, right? Version 1 is better than version none. Get going. Don't worry about that. You need to look perfect. And it's going to happen naturally as you use those platforms.
And trust me, as you get into this, and I know people within your organization, within your church, as you have this, what you will also create is opportunities for people to serve and help you out. But that won't happen until you create the need or the vision. And that starts with you getting a presence there immediately.
Yeah. So get on Facebook, get on Twitter. That is the first step. Now, after they actually set up their account and they're sitting there at the keyboard, what do they do next?
Just sit there like this.
Yes.
No, the next step is invest in a plan. Be strategic. If you want to have success, you got to chart a pathway to get there.
Yes.
And that starts with creating a plan.
Okay. So the first element of the plan, we try to be practical, and is really upfront to understand what is your bandwidth, what is your workflow, how much time do you actually have to put against this social media stuff. And so I think the first thing we try to do is set frequency.
Yeah.
How much time can you put into, how many times a week can you actually put into investing in these platforms? And so one of the things I love to do is actually schedule 15-minute blocks on my weekly schedule of when I'm going to pop into Facebook or Twitter and check the accounts.
Yeah, and part of that is also setting aside time to do some planning in your posts.
Yeah.
And so getting ahead. So think about things like when am I going to spend time? Is it Monday morning at this time? Is it Tuesday at this time? And figure it out. If you don't plan it and put it on your calendar. And we would challenge you, put it on your calendar, block it out so people can't touch it. When people are trying to schedule other things, they see that they can't get into it. Make that time so that you make it a priority so that it actually happens.
And I think it's also a little bit of awareness of your energy levels and your concentration levels. For some people, it might be the first thing in the morning. Some people, it might be lunchtime. Sometimes it might be in the evening. But the whole point is get it on your calendar so that you can get to it regularly.
Yeah.
Right?
But beyond that, part of your plan is frequency. It's also publishing schedule. Is that you got to figure out when and what you're going to post.
Content.
So I think part of the Twitter session we talked about writing out 20 tweets ahead of time. And so with your publishing schedule, one thing I would actually challenge you to do is just open up an Excel doc or a Google Doc. Google Doc's probably really powerful because you can get other people engaged, and actually create a calendar on the Google Doc, say Monday, Tuesday, and get 30 days ahead and write out what are you going to post, and take some strategic time to brainstorm out and use some of the homework assignment that we gave you for the Twitter session. Apply that into your publishing schedule.
Yeah, so those are the first 3 steps is get the accounts up and running, right? Fill out that profile information, and then figure out realistically what the frequency is of your schedule of attending to social media. And then the third part is actually scheduling the publishing just for a little bit, a couple of weeks, a week, even a week's worth of content. Get that out and running. That's the first 3 steps.
Yeah, in every session, we did talk about tools that you can get ahead of it. Things like Hootsuite and Latergram and different tools like that can help you schedule. So that's the idea, that you're taking time aside to plan ahead. You're actually writing that content, and you're even scheduling that content. And then you just follow the times that you blocked out to be strategic.
Yeah. So that's great. Now, there's one specific resource I think we could recommend to people. There's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, industry. He's actually a guy from Jersey. His story is quite.
Is that a good thing?
It's a perfect thing, fantastic thing. And so basically, he has his story is that he used to run a family wine store. Claim to fame is he used a YouTube channel to really democratize wine for people. It really brought in his sales for his company skyrocketed. Through using social media tools, he became an expert and has launched one of the premier social media digital agencies in New York. A great voice to listen to. He published a book recently called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Great metaphor in boxing that basically you need to earn the permission of having a call to action from your audience, and you need to deliver 3 jabs in terms of delivering something of value to the other person before you earn the right to pull a right hook.
So I would make sure grab that resource. That's kind of the next step out of this, is that make sure you get that book, start digesting that. Go back. I want to challenge you. We want to both challenge you. Go back and go back to other videos and other training sessions that we've talked about to kind of refresh your memory. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight.
No.
Right? It's going to be a learning. You're going to get your feet wet. You're going to have to kind of learn how to swim in this, but don't be scared. Jump into it. Start this.
Yes.
Start going.
And talk to other people. There's plenty of people by default statistically that are using these platforms around you. Start to talk about it. In fact, one of the things we'd love for you to do is we want to hear from you. How has this journey been over this last several sessions? How have you taken it? What are the questions that you have? What's working for you? We love hearing from you guys. It's called social media.
I know.
For a reason. It's social, right?
I know.
So how do they get in touch with you, Jay?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at jaykranda, JayKranda. And please, I want to know about learnings, takeaways, and even suggestions for other things we should cover.
Yeah, and you can follow me on my Twitter handle, Kenny Jahng, KennyJahng. We'll put it up on the screen here. And again, send us a tweet. We'd love to hear from you, one or both of us, and we love interacting. So thank you so much for joining us for the Social Media Jumpstart. We're excited to hopefully help you get along on the journey, and we just privilege the fact that we are able to be part of your journey together.